What's up guys, David here from OT Focus, and today I want to talk to you about visualization, okay? Alright, so a little while ago I was watching this rock climbing video on visualization by Adam Ondra, and so what happens in this video is he says that in 6 minutes he can study a route, right? So he won't have ever climbed this route ever before, and he's already a really good rock climber, so I mean that kind of helps him. But he'll never have climbed this route before, and sometimes it's a really, really difficult route that no one has ever climbed on their first try. And he'll visualize it. He'll spend 6 minutes on it, just researching every piece of it. He'll be kind of like solving the math problem in his head, because climbing is kind of like math. It's like figuring out what move to do next and where to reach and where to put your feet and your arms and everything. And he'll study it all out, visualize it in his head, and then he'll get on the wall and he can, I've seen some videos where he just scales the whole wall. He climbs it all at once, and no one has ever done this before. And the whole reason why he can do it on his first try is because he visualizes it. So what I kind of want to talk about is how we can take this information and transfer it in your practice as an occupational therapist, or as part of therapy. How can we help our patients visualize the end outcome? And like in my head, when I picture this, I'm just thinking of a patient who's laying in bed, right? And maybe they don't want to get out of bed, or they're just in a lot of pain, and they're just keep telling you like, no, I'm not ready. You've been there, right? You've seen these patients. This happens every day, and then you move on to the next patient, or you come back, or you just keep pushing and begging that patient to get out of bed. And sometimes I've done this where you're kind of a jerk to the patient to try to get him out of bed, because it's the beginning of your day and you have to start seeing patients quickly. And this is kind of an issue in the realm of occupational therapy and therapy overall. But what if we change that a little bit, right? And just talk to our patients about visualizing what's about to happen. And I've noticed that when I talk my patients through everything that I'm going to do before they do it, the experience is so much better for them. And I'm kind of a believer in this visualization thing. And I was actually reading the other day on Psychology Today, and that's kind of why I'm bringing this up, is that visualization can be a key component in improving therapy for your patient. Or say your patient had a hip surgery or a total knee replacement, and visualizing what their body is about to do next can help so much in improving their performance. So what I'm saying, and what you can do, is if you have this patient who's just laying in their bed and they're not wanting to do anything, and they're saying come back later, I would say, okay, I'm going to come back later, but this is what I want you to do before I come back later. I want you to spend a good 5 minutes, and I want you to think every move in your head that is going to be necessary to get out of bed and get to standing. And what you can just start describing everything, right? You can talk about how they're going to get out of bed. I'm not going to tell you how to get out of bed. I want you to visualize it. And think about how much better that is, because a lot of times we're just saying no, you're wrong. This is how you get out of bed. Let me show you. Well, instead of teaching the patient, have them teach themselves. And then what they're doing wrong, or what you can assist with, that can make a difference for them, right? And you can kind of guide them with what might be more beneficial when they're getting out of bed. So what I would say is just have them spend 5 minutes, okay? And we're gonna get out of bed, and I want you to think about how you're gonna roll to get out of bed, where you're gonna put your hands first, where you're gonna put your legs, and when you get out of bed, how you're gonna push yourself out of bed to a sitting position. And then while you're sitting, I want you to think about your posture, right? And your neck muscles. I want you to think about where you are in space and where your hands are. Are you going to need your hands to support yourself while you're sitting up? You know, you may not have to include all of this, but this is just some way to start off. And then when it goes to standing, I want you to visualize in your head standing up and what you're going to have to do, where your hands are going to have to be, where your legs are going to have to be, your feet, your knees, and where your hip position is going to be before you stand up. And after you think about this, I'm going to come back and I'm going to have you tell me, so we both are on the same page with this. I've only done this a couple times, and I did this the other day with a patient who was completely out of it, completely out of his mind, very confused, very weak, but he was oriented times 4. He knew where he was and everything. And so I talked to this patient and I said, let's visualize how you're going to get out of bed, okay, before we do it. I want you to just think about it for a minute. And he said, okay. And then we got him out of bed, and he actually did a really good job. And prior to this, he hadn't done anything, okay? I sit him up at the edge of the bed. I told him, I want you to really visualize what you have to do before you stand up. Think about everything you have to do to be able to stand up for a second. And I had him think about that, and then I was like, think about where your hips have to be. And I actually showed him, you have to be bending way far forward to be able to stand up, okay? And he said, okay, and he stood up, and it was like, oh my gosh, I hardly had to help him at all. So I think this can make a difference. I think visualization could be a really good way to improve your therapy sessions with your patients, especially the ones that don't want to do anything. So anyway, I want you to just kind of keep that in your mind, try it out, leave your comments below if you have an experience with this. I want to know, I want you to try this out, and then I want you to come back and leave your comments, because I don't know, if you can do this, I think this could make a huge difference, and I think this actually can give you more rapport with your patients. So anyway, I'm just going to leave that out there with you. I hope you like this video, and I will try to leave some information about this, more on this topic, in the description below. And I will see you in the next one, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks.